In this video, I'm going to talk about a process that I believe is completely different than anybody else is doing or thinking or talking about. And it will give you some easy framework on how to stand out in a crowded market if you're using Messenger to close deals. Stay tuned. This one's going to be fire. What's up, FlowChat Connector? Sean back at you here with another high ticket tune-up. Hope you're doing really well today. In this FlowChat sales training session, we're going to cover something that I think a lot of people want to know about, and they're all trying to do it, but they don't really have the right framework, or they don't really have kind of the right approach that I've seen. Now, I've been in the Messenger game for years and years and years, and I've actually been practicing this for over almost probably 250,000 Messenger conversations, something close to that, and don't quite know how many, but a lot. And what I see is trends and patterns, and some of the patterns I want to explain to you today. So Wency asked this question and he said, Sean, look, everyone I message seems to be able to read through my messages and call it out that I'm trying to sell to them, right? So Wency's sending messages, and then all of a sudden people are like, what are you trying to sell me? What are you trying to sell me? What are you trying to sell me? So if you've ever been in that spot and that's happened to you before, this framework that I'm about to share with you is something that you can take away from today. It's more of a thought exercise on how to do it, but I'm going to give you the construct of what it needs to look like, and then you can win with it because it's going to be very simple. So I'm going to share exactly how to stand out in a crowded market in Messenger, because I think a lot of people are using Messenger these days because, you know, ads are getting more expensive, summits and challenges are getting harder and harder to run and get people to show up, just some fatigue in some of the other methods that are out there. But the one thing that will stay true always is one-to-one communication, and that's why FlowChat exists. That's why FlowChat does what it does. It's one-to-one conversation at scale with the human element. We don't use automation or bots, right? And that's the beauty of our system and how it works. But enough about that. I think this is a powerful tip that I want to share with you guys. So check this out. Here we go. So what's the first thing? What's the first thing we got to think about here? How do we want to stand out? Well, the most desired place to move your prospect is this place where this guy is saying right now. He's like, I want to be free of this pain. So if you can get your prospect into a position in your Messenger conversation or even in your selling conversation where they're saying, Sean, I'm so emotionally involved in this stupid problem that I have in my business that I want to get rid of this pain immediately. And that's great. And we all know that. And everybody's teaching you, hey, you got to find your pain points of your prospect. You got to go, you can find the pain, which is true. You do have to find the pain, but we can't be that blunt about it to just go up to a prospect and be like, hey, what's the biggest pain in your business? Because it's too soon. It's like you've ripped the Band-Aid off too early, and people are like, ouch, that's too aggressive. Like, don't reach out to me in that way. I don't like it. And that's just an average of seeing hundreds and hundreds of conversations flow and then getting questions like Wency asked me today. So what do we need to do? Well, this is what everyone else is kind of doing. They're saying things like, hey, tell me about your pain. Tell me about your problem. Tell me about the thing that's hurting your business. Where is your business struggling? What's your biggest problem that you're facing? What's the pain point that you have? These questions are almost these days kind of a dead giveaway that you're going to try to come in as a coach or an approach. And as a prospect, when you see one of these questions coming your way, what do you usually think? Oh no, here comes somebody that's going to give me a bunch of unsolicited advice about some shit that I don't need to hear about and want to see. None of that stuff. Like, feels like it's going to be a salesy conversation. Like, I'm out. And so most people will say these things because that's the first thing that pops to mind. And while that is the right thing to we need to get there, we can't do it the same way that we used to do it. So we need a different framework. So I'm going to share some framework that came from, I learned it from a guy named Kurt Wright. He wrote a book called Breaking the Rules, and he came up with these series of questions that I believe are very powerful in terms of putting into a framework for Messenger. So the key is getting pain, right? So getting pain is the key, but the way to get there is through rapport with your prospect rather than just straight up asking them, you know, the question about, tell me about your pain. What's the thing that your business sucks at right now? Where are you getting stuck? Like, those are great questions when it's time to ask them, but it's not a great question to start the conversation. So how you want to start that I've seen work extremely well. Now, we all know there's two kinds of sides of this. People run away from fear and pain and anxiety. Anxiety is the most biggest driver, right? So if you can identify your prospect's anxiety and you get it right, they're going to want to run away from that as fast as possible. That's the most biggest motivator. Fear is the second one. Pain is the third one. It's a little more surfacey. On the other hand, people run towards pleasure, and the pleasure conversation is always easier for somebody to have than starting with pain. So if there was a way, what is it? You got to be different by using what we call the right question. So the first one is this is what do you know is already right? Now I'm not saying ask that exact question. This one is actually the agenda setter for your entire next messenger conversation. So we need to figure out however you word this, it's not going to be exactly how this is worded. Maybe you could try, but I think you could probably be more creative than what I just wrote here. But what do you know is already right? Hey, what's working in your business right now? What's one thing you're proud about? What's something that you're really like stunning the world with that you're doing right now? And that's a very easy way to get someone to engage with you in a message conversation because it's absolutely different than 90% of all the people that are out there, right? When the world is doing this and you do this, you're going to win more often than not. So starting on the right foot and setting an agenda in a positive tone where the prospect's like, yeah, that's actually working well. That gives them a dopamine hit saying like I'm going to brag about myself. People love to talk about themselves, so give them space to do that, right? So we just say, hey, what do you know is already right in your business? Like what's the thing that you're just cheering over the moon about? It's working so well for you right now. And they're going to start talking way more often, and they will never feel like it's a salesy type of conversation whatsoever. As soon as they share that with you, don't stop there, right? Don't stop and then go into the pain. You're not there yet, right? We've just basically broken the ice and established rapport. The secret is we got to stay in rapport. That's what I'm saying. Best way to get to pain is by staying in rapport. So we say, oh, great, tell me more about that. What is it that makes that right for you? And what I'm doing is I'm asking the prospect to not only now they've bragged and they've gotten like that, pound their chest kind of move. And now they're coming back and saying, well, this is why it works so well. And what have we done? When we ask this question, we've generated energy within our prospect and they're thinking to themselves like, holy cow, like this is why it works so well. And what happens? They get emotionally hooked into the thing that they know is already right in their business and they know why it's making it right. And you, as the sales professional, have given them space to say, tell me why that is working so well. What is it that makes that right for you? I'm curious, right? Be genuine about it. And now we've generated energy, we've got them into an emotion, and we've stayed in rapport. And it doesn't seem salesy at all because we're working down the path of positivity towards pleasure here. Now, this third question is the shift. This is the transformation. This is where you start to turn because now we've established rapport, we've secured and stayed in rapport, generated energy, got the prospect to be emotional. It might be more questions than just these ones, but you get the idea. This is the framework here. Now we need to do a little vision building. We're already emotional with the prospect. We're in rapport. He's got energy around what he just told you or she just told you. And now we're going to ask, well, maybe there's a crack in your armor. And so we say something like, hey, that's really interesting. Like, what would be ideally right? Like, where are you trying to take your business and kind of what's the thing that you need to put in place to get there? Boom. Now we've allowed the prospect to number one, get in rapport with us, stay in rapport, generate energy, get emotional. And now we're letting them vision cast just a little bit. And this is the turning point because we're asking for where's the crack in your armor. And when we find that crack, we're going to pull onto that. And that's how we're going to get that person back to that painful place, right? And this now, by this stage in the conversation, you won't be no prospect at this point. If you've had the 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 interactions with somebody, you're going to have high engagement and they're not going to feel like it's a big salesy call. They're going to feel like it's a great connection. That's what you're trying to go for. And so you let them vision build a little bit. And then you say, well, hold on a sec. If you're trying to get there, what's not quite right yet? Like, what's the big shift you need to make to get your business on track to hit the goal that you're trying to get to? Oh, now that's where we get the pain. Okay. So you see that. So you don't go for pain in the first, second, or even the third question. We want to just tee that up a little bit. This is that part of the conversation where what we're doing is there is some strategy behind this because we're going to the primal brain. We're asking them to hit their the dopamine and let it talk. We're staying in rapport. We're figuring out where they're actually trying to get, letting them build their vision. And you say, well, what's the one thing that you could put in place that would help you get there faster? What's not quite right yet? Right? And then lastly is, well, what resources can we find to make it right? This is the action engaging part of the conversation where you'll get to in Messenger, say, well, if I had this thing, or if I had that thing, or I had this, or this, or that, or this, I know if I could put this in my business, boom, I could get it done. Well, oh my gosh, that totally makes sense. Like, what have you tried to do about that? Tell me more. Now we can dig. And then eventually we get back to that place. If we've done it right, when we say, what resources can we find to make it right? Then we dig into the pain, and we get that prospect back to this place right here where they're going to say, damn it, Sean, I want to be free of this pain. Fantastic. we should jump on a quick phone call and work that out. Or go check out my website, or come to my summit, come to my challenge, or whatever the thing is that you're selling. Like, that's how you move your prospect into this desired place, using a different sequence of questions that is going to allow you to flow at a much, much higher level. So with that said, I hope this one was valuable for you, because I know, let's see this. Yeah, I think all salespeople do this. It's absolutely true, right? And I love this positive perspective because it works. Look, I've seen it work hundreds and hundreds of times. And that's all I got for you guys today. I just know that if you use those questions, and let me go back to that slide so you can take another quick picture of it here so you can see this. Just take a picture of this, because I think it's going to be valuable for you to use this framework in your messaging conversation. This is the framework, and then use your own words to create these questions, and you'll get to a place where you have that prospect in where they're like, I want to get out of this pain right now. And I love that you've asked me the right questions. Yes, I'm happy to jump on a call to speak with you, because you're asking me, you're listening to me. This is actually communication. You're not just trying to sell me stuff. That is going to allow you to get into the sales call or wherever you're trying to bring your prospect, and that's allowing you to win at the highest level. You've just been tuned up. I hope this one helped you. Please, please, please make sure and smash that like button. Share this out so the algorithm can feed this out to more people that need to get better at sales. And of course, subscribe to the channel. With that said, I can't wait to see you next time. Don't forget, Thursday is statistically the best day to prospect. So get out there and prospect, make a deal, close a deal. Also the best day to close deals, by the way. And with that said, just have a great weekend. Cheers and ciao for now. See you next time.